Alrighty, people, what is happening? We are getting very close to week 5, less than 24 hours as we sit here today until Thursday Night Football. We appreciate you for being here with us. Hey, do us a massive favor and hit that like button as today's stream starts. We got a like goal today of 75 likes. With your help, I think we can do it. We're going to answer as many questions as we can today, from the regular questions to any donations, to questions via the website. And we are excited to be here with you. I think first things first, I'm the realist. Let's talk about some injury updates, because obviously this week has been really confusing. It feels like with the amount of buys, I mean, trying to make the videos this week is getting very difficult prepping, because it feels like every player is injured or on bye or half practicing, half not, or requesting a trade. It's absolute chaos all over the place. So let's just quickly have a look here at the latest news. Trey McBride, this is trending in a good direction. Limited in practice Wednesday. I believe he will play. You believe he will play?
Yep.
Okay. Devontae Adams, not expected to play in week 5. I don't think he plays again until he's traded with the way it's going, but I guess anything's possible. Clyde is back at practice. Well, he's designated to return to practice in the next 21 days. Damian Pierce won't be out there. OBJ, that doesn't matter. Evan Ingram, this is a big one. Evan Ingram is practicing in a limited fashion, as well as David Njoku. The tight end position has been absolute hell, but these guys are on track, if things go right in the next couple of days, to maybe be out there again and play.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're hoping for. Once again, the tight end position has been very disappointing, and getting these guys back, if you were struggling with injuries when David Njoku or Evan Ingram, you probably didn't have a good tight end unless you spent all your fab on Isaiah Likely in week 1. So you were probably streaming the tight end position for the first 5 weeks of the season, or 4 weeks of the season. So now that you have those guys coming back, it's going to be a huge help.
I agree. Austin Eckler is on track to play. He said he believes he'll play. Brian Robinson doesn't practice Wednesday. I'm viewing this as like a Veterans Day of rest type of situation, but we'll have to monitor this. There is a scenario, of course, where he doesn't play, but it would be strange that it wasn't reported at all and then he just randomly doesn't play. Brandon Cooks is going to miss 1 to 3 weeks. So if you guys are really desperate out there right now and you need like this spot start desperation play, then look at Jalen Tolbert. He's an option while Brandon Cooks is out. Anthony Richardson is limited in practice. Nobody wants Anthony Richardson to play from a fantasy perspective, but it feels like it's leaning towards he might. I don't know. What's your inclination here?
I mean, yeah, if he's practicing in limited fashion, I don't see why, if he's okay to go, why he doesn't play. Which sucks. You know, I mean, in a fantasy perspective, you hope that he doesn't play for a couple weeks, or he goes in and he's just not 100% in Joe Flacco. That is honestly the best thing that can happen to you. But at the same time, if Anthony Richardson does play, we're probably going to say you probably shouldn't start some of these Colts players. So it's going to be a tough one to gauge.
Yeah, exactly. Devin Singletary is dealing with a groin issue. If you go to groinindex.com via the Fantasy Footballers, you can see him on there dealing with a groin. My groin. You know, those guys are great what they do. But another desperation play. If you need a running back this week, like I did in my home league, go pick up Tyrone Tracy, because Tyrone Tracy could be the starter for the New York Giants this week. So definitely something to consider. I don't think there's really anything else. Joe Mixon hasn't practiced yet. I still lean 55% he plays.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a huge indication for a lot of these players. Devin Singletary, Joe Mixon, Anthony Richardson. You know, if those guys don't play or don't practice in some sort of limited fashion, then it's most likely that they're going to be ruled out for Sunday. So just keep an eye out on those notifications. And obviously, we're going to give you a nice little update on the live stream as well, as much as possible.
Yes. Tank Dell is participating. He should play this week. TJ Hawkinson could be back in the next 3 weeks. Definitely a great trade target. Malik Neighbors not practicing Wednesday. It is concussion protocol, but the overall belief in the industry right now is that he might not play, so that's something to monitor. I would be devastated in my home league. Jonathan Taylor hasn't practiced on Wednesday. I'm leaning towards him not playing, which is why Trey Sermon was a part of our waiver wire video and our stash video. And that's pretty much it outside like the Devontae Adams stuff. Snoop Huntley is going to play in week 5. I don't know, like it was bad, but I feel like Snoop Huntley was definitely better than what they had with Skylar Thompson. So
yeah,
could always
exactly.
be worse. Hey guys, here's how today's stream is going to work. We appreciate you for being here with us. Do us a favor, smash that like button as today's stream start. We got a like goal of 75 likes. With your help, I think we can get there. We are going to be answering fantasy questions, as many as we possibly can. Of course, if people choose to donate to hear our opinions, we will look at their questions first. Hopefully you can understand where we're coming from. And if you do plan on donating today, we'd ask, hey, check out our website first. It's the pinned comment. Our website is an incredible resource, and there are so many great free tools over there on that website that you guys can get access to. If you haven't created an account yet, create a free account, use a promo code LAND, okay? And you can get access when you use the promo code LAND to free expert consensus rankings. You can actually see the league analyzer if you use a promo code LAND. It's, you know, a free tool. You don't get a free team review, right? But a free tool. You can use a trade calculator for free. So many incredible free resources just by using the promo code LAND. And of course, people who have submitted a question through the site, this is what the link will look like, where you can ask us a trade question, a start sit question, or get a team review. We will be looking at their questions very first. I did see that someone got a team review. We'll look at that towards the end of the stream, but we are going to start with some of these start sit questions here with Artez. So again, if you guys ever want your questions to be up very first, you don't even have to watch the stream as soon as it starts, by the way, because on our website, it will literally send you a time code to exactly when we answered your question. So what you can do is, if you know we're going to be streaming tomorrow night, you say, I want to be at the top of the queue. I got a soccer practice, whatever the case may be. You pop a question in there, and you know a time code will be sent to you where we answer your question on stream, and you'll be able to see it at any point. So consider using the website if you are going to donate. But of course, super chats are always appreciated. The website is just a better experience for you, and YouTube doesn't take 30% of your donation away from us. All right, Artez is the first question here. So it is a start sit question. It's a 1 quarterback, 12 team start 8 PPR format. And it looks like he is currently planning on starting Justin Fields. The other option is Dak Prescott. Let's talk through that first. Would you go Dak Prescott or Justin Fields here?
I would go Dak Prescott still.
Yeah, I agree. I know Fields had a great matchup, but
yeah.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, they kind of both play each other, but give me Dak Prescott, I think, in a pretty big game, honestly, because Steelers are 3-1, so they kind of need to win. That game. Anyways, yes, give me Dak Prescott.
At running back, it looks like he's going to start Tyler Algier because there's no Saquon Barkley or Jonathan Brooks, obviously, right now. I'll be honest, I don't think you can start Tyler Algier. I'd be looking at, because Bijan Robinson is looking like he's healthy. If this is truly your best option, then you have to roll the dice, but be looking on the waiver wire for another name. I mean, for example, is Trey Sermon out there right now? Could you pick him up? Tyrone Tracy, which we just talked about, because Devin Singletary's dealing with a groin injury. Justice Hill, potentially. Alexander Madison would be another name.
Would you start Tyrone Tracy over Tyler Algier?
If Devin Singletary's not out there, absolutely I would. Wouldn't even be a question in my mind if there's no Devin Singletary.
Okay, good to know.
Would you not?
I just think that with the game script, I'm not sure if there's going to be a lot of opportunity. Like, I think the run game might struggle, and then we might be down, so we might abandon it. Just thinking of game script. So
Tyrone Tracy is your best pass catcher, I'd say. So, and there's no Malik Neighbors. To me, yeah, I would definitely put him out there over Tyler.
Sure.
We don't know how many touches he'll get.
Yeah,
but I can see the narrative. He's starting DK, he's starting Diggs, he's starting Worthy, and then at flex he's starting Jawan Jennings. I mean, doesn't look like he has any other options, so he's going to go with Jawan Jennings there.
Yeah, you mean can't really do much there.
No, unfortunately not. All right, Sammy, what's up, Sammy? This is a 1 quarterback, 14 team start 7. So a 14 teamer. This is a deeper league. He's got Jaden Daniels at quarterback, Brian Robinson. Let's hope he plays. At running back 2, he's debating between Braylon, Kareem, and Bucky. I know I would go Kareem, But do you have any strong opinion here on that?
No, I would go Kareem as well. Should definitely take over this backfield this week. Yeah, should take over this backfield this week. So I feel pretty confident in that. I mean, you might have to start potentially Bucky Irving or Braylon Allen if Brian Robinson is not a go on Sunday. So that's going to be something that you need to monitor coming into this week or going into this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. If Brian Robinson is out, we'll probably go Braylon and Kareem, just because you have to make that decision on Bucky too early for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Thursday night football, so you're gonna have that opportunity. So
yeah, we're starting
unless it
CeeDee
comes up
Lamb
tomorrow.
We're starting Mike Evans, and then at the flex, he's considering between Dontavion Wicks, Bucky Irving, Xavier Legette, Braylon Allen, and Terry McLaurin. Damn it. Okay, you have Terry, so you got to play him. I was about to be so excited to say Dontavion Wicks, but if you have Terry, I feel like he's got to be out there, right?
I
With
agree.
the
I'm
streak
starting
that he's
Terry.
on right now.
I'm starting Terry over Wicks here. Yeah.
But I do love Wicks this week. He's a fun option. But if you have a name like Terry, who's already succeeding with Jaden Daniels, then I think you got to put him out there. If you guys want to ask your question through our website, it's a great resource for you. Check out the pinned comment. All right, so this is from Big Johnson. He says, "Who do I sit of this group? Leaning towards sitting Tyreek, believe it or not." Okay, so I am a little confused on the way he's placed the question, but I believe his question, Badaki, because he only has 3 players here. So when you guys fill it out, try and do your starting lineup as like the total positions and then the options in each position. But I think he's basically saying I have to sit one of these names. I think that is the question that he's asking right now.
Yeah, well, if you're looking at these options here, I would personally be sitting. If I'm not mistaken, isn't Wicks a option here?
Mm-hmm.
No, where is Wicks? Why am I?
Yeah,
not? Okay,
it's
with
Tyreek,
Dontavion Wicks,
Debo,
Tyreek
and
Hill,
Wicks.
and Debo. I'll be sitting Dontavion Wicks here. I'll still start Tyreek Hill. You have another week with Snoop Huntley there. So, and I think this could be a better opportunity coming into this week. We kind of saw them struggle a little bit, like you kept saying last week. There was one pass just away from a big play from Tyreek Hill. They played the Patriots as a divisional game, so I think they're going to get a little bit creative here and get Tyreek the ball.
Yeah, this is super close. I feel like this is way closer than we might think between Tyreek and Wicks, but I am still going to put Tyreek and Debo out there into my lineup. It's a much better matchup for Tyreek, and you have Christian Gonzalez for sure, but you don't have L'Jarius Sneed that you're facing. I think another week in this offense, they're going to figure some stuff out. And the good news is, like, the coach, Mike McDaniels, has already come out and been like, we know what we need to change. So it's very close. Love Wicks. He's one of my favorite starts this week, but I am going to start Tyreek if I have him still.
I agree.
All right, next question here from CD's Nuts. This is a 1 quarterback, 12-team start 8 PPR, no tight end premium. Monty and Pollard both on bye. Someone dropped Sharps. Should I put in a claim? And if so, drop who? All right, so let's have a look at his options. He's starting CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison, Tucker Kraft. And then at running back, he has the options of Rico, Kareem, Bucky, Ramondre. Oddly enough, with the recent reports on Ramondre, I'm still starting him, but I would first choose Kareem Hunt over him. And then I'd probably go Ramondre. I'd love to just say let's throw Rico out there, but his matchup is so bad versus the Steelers this week. So
yeah, I agree.
It would be Kareem and Ramondre for me between those two running backs.
Kareem and Ramondre, yeah, I would agree. Let me ask you this: would you have Zach Charbonnet? Would you roster Zach Charbonnet over Rico Dowdle?
No, I don't think so.
I would.
Really? Okay.
The only reason why I say that is because we saw how important, Charbonnet was to the offense when Kenneth Walker was out. And if he does miss some time, 17 points in week 2, 25 points in week 3, that's kind of where I would be. I'm not saying I'm not saying that you have to do this. I'm saying that that's what I would do. Sure. Especially because he acts like someone dropped Sharp. Should you put a claim? I would, and just drop Rico. But obviously Zach and I see that a little bit differently.
No, look, I understand the rationale behind it, but you're still waiting on an injury in order to make Charbonnet a startable name, whereas I think Rico is like a name you can put out there. I will say his next 3 weeks are not nice. He's got Pittsburgh, Detroit, and then a bye. So I can definitely understand from that perspective. I probably won't be excited to start Rico Dowdle until like week 10 or something. So I can definitely see where you're coming from there. I just think if I needed a spot start right now, Rico might be the name I'd lean towards. But I can see both sides. How about Brock Purdy and CJ Stroud? I think we had this question yesterday. I said I'd go Brock Purdy. I think you said CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud.
So hopefully he gets the time code here and can listen to both of our takes. But for me, I just love the matchup for Brock Purdy. The Cardinals are a very good matchup for your quarterback. They give up the 4th most points to fantasy quarterbacks. We've seen multiple quarterbacks go over 25 fantasy points against this defense. It's a high over-under, and the 49ers are heavily favored. So I think Brock Purdy could pay off the start before half. And this is not anti-Stroud. I just prefer Brock Purdy's matchup better.
Yeah, and I understand. And, I prefer, I guess when I'm thinking about it in game script, just to give you my 2 cents, if you wanting to make a decision between Brock Purdy and CJ Stroud, is this should be a high-scoring game. Playing the Bills clearly have been scoring outside of last week against the Ravens. But this should be a high-scoring game. At least that's the expectation. So CJ Stroud playing at home, having to go head-to-head with Josh Allen, I think that's kind of where I want to lean. But yes, I can see the narrative for the 49ers and Brock Purdy as well.
To be honest, though, I mean, when you get Monty back, this is a pretty damn good lineup. I mean, this is a monster lineup for sure.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the question. Again, guys, if you want to ask a question, get your question answered straight away, top of the queue, check out our website. You can donate, obviously, as well if you'd like to do that. The website is just a better experience for you. And don't worry, if you don't have an account yet, you can create one for free. And when you create a free account, you will also get access to some of the free tools like the rankings, the My Team's trade analyzer, the trade calculator, stuff like that. So something to keep in mind. Let's have a look. What are some of the? Do we have more questions on the site? We
did get one more question on the side. Drizzy.
Yeah.
Drizzle. I don't know.
So
it's a trade question.
There's no context behind the trade, but it is a 1 quarterback, 12 team start, 7 PPR. And it looks like he's going to get Kyron, McBride, and London, and he would send away Cook, Chase, and Adunze. This is a start 7 league, so the lineup is quite small. But McBride, I think, is the big difference maker here.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I wonder what the tight end is going to be.
If I have Kyle Pitts, if I'm streaming Cole Kmet, I think I'm going to take the Trey McBride side of this deal.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question here. So obviously you're giving up Jamar Chase and Rome Odunze to get a tight end. Well, obviously with Kyron Williams, Drake London, but my bigger question is who's your tight end currently already? If you're telling me you're rocking with an Evan Ingram who's going to come back or David Njoku who's going to come back, I think I want to hold off and just wait and see what that's going to look like. Yeah. But yeah, if you're struggling with Kyle Pitts right now or with I don't know, like you kind of mentioned Cole Kmet, I think I would be kind of leaning towards this Trey McBride side of the deal because of how important the tight end position
and it felt like they really missed him last week too. Trey McBride. It felt like they really, really missed him.
Yeah, they did. He's in the chat. He says, "Sorry, he says contest. Yes, I have Pitts."
Okay.
Then so I mean,
I'll take the McBride side of this.
Yeah, it just makes sense. I mean,
I'm not going to drop Kyle Pitts, by the way. I mean, we'll hold him and see if there's any turnaround, but I definitely want to start Trey McBride over Kyle Pitts. And you are getting an upgrade at running back with Kyron over James Cook. Obviously, losing Jamar Chase is a part of this deal that hurts, but I like this deal. I do.
Let me ask you this before we say yes. What happens if Tucker Kraft is available? I know waiver wires already went, but let's just say hypothetically he's available still. Would you still do this trade?
Well, you are getting a pretty significant upgrade at running back, I'd say. Not to be anti-James Cook or anything, but Kyron is like the truth right now. I mean, he's been a superstar. But I'd probably lean on just keeping Jamar Chase there in a start 7.
That's what I was gonna say. I think like if there is some sort of tight end available that maybe you really like or we both like, what if Kate Alton was there? Obviously, Kate Alton has 2 good games.
No way.
I'm just trying to think of other names because I know like there's some
Evan Ingram, David Njoku. He says Kraft is available. Then yeah, I'd pick up Kraft, and I would I think I would tell the owner, hey, I'm interested. I'd like to see what Kraft can give me for a couple weeks, and then you can renegotiate that trade at a later date.
The reason why I'm saying this is because I would rather keep Jamar Chase and then stream the tight end position if someone like Kraft might be available on my waiver wires. If not, then like let's just solidify that tight end position now and get it done. Yeah. But I don't know, maybe that makes it more confusing for you or not, but hopefully that helps.
Yeah, so we are going to declare the Trey McBride side the winner, but because you have Tucker Kraft as an option, we would suggest to try and stream him first. I had a ton of fab in the Flock League, so I spent $31 on him. I was surprised at how passive people were with Christian Watson. Yeah, with Christian Watson going down. With the landscape of the tight end position right now, with how many people in our league need tight end, I was a little bit surprised by how passive people were, but obviously that just means that I overpaid. But we'll find out soon if that's the case. Appreciate you, Babel. We'll get to this team review here soon. Again, guys, if you want to ask a question and you're going to donate, try our website first. It's a great asset for you. You get a bunch of free tools by using the promo code LAND at signing up. And you get a free account with those tools as well. And then obviously you can ask some questions. This is what the page looks like when you open up that link. Great resource for you. And then you don't have YouTube taking 30% of your donation that you're trying to give to us. All right, let's get to some super chats here. Do us a favor, hit that like button on today's stream. We got a like goal of 75 likes, and we're getting close.
Yeah, we appreciate
we're
you
almost
guys. Yeah.
almost halfway there. First super chat is from Beastman, I think.
Yeah, Beastman, which is his first super chat. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for donating. He says start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. So start 3 players out of these names: Tyreek, Deontay, Brian Thomas, Mawson, Wicks. For me, it's definitely Deontay Johnson, definitely Brian Thomas, and I'm still going to go Tyreek over Wicks this week.
I agree, but I really want to start Wicks where I have him. It's just you have a lot of really good options, so I'm definitely with you there. All right, Ocho's the next one. He says Murray or Daniels, need 1 flex, McLaurin or Brian Thomas. I would be starting Jaden Daniels this week. I would probably struggle to not start Jaden Daniels on any given week if I don't have the names Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson on my team.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, we love Kyler Murray. I think it is a tough matchup coming into this week. Jaden Daniels going to the Browns. I know it was a tough matchup. Technically, the Browns are a tough matchup. But, I mean, Danny Dimes threw for like over 200-something yards. And we saw last week that they were struggling as well against the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken. So, Jaden Daniels, I'm going every single day there.
The other side of that is that you'd have to start Kyler versus San Francisco. That's a tough matchup too. Yeah. So the guy who's just hotter right now, you know, is Jaden Daniels. How about Terry or Brian Thomas this week? This is a back-to-back in my rankings type of question. They're literally back-to-back. One's my wide receiver 22, the other's my wide receiver 23. That must tell you I'm pretty high on Brian Thomas. What's your answer here?
For me, this would be Terry. I like this offense better. I think they move the ball. He's the only guy essentially on this offense as well. You know, outside of Brian Robinson, but you know, Christian Kirk is getting more involved. Evan Ingram is coming back. And yes, Brian Thomas could get a lot more work, especially having, you know, this great game against Houston. But I'm taking Terry, who has been more consistent in the last 2 weeks.
Okay, it is very close for me. I am going Terry, but again, back-to-back in my rankings. If I have Brian Thomas, I'm so excited to play him this week, and that's a preview to the video that comes out tomorrow. All right, Bentley with the super chat here. I appreciate you, man. He says, pick 2 running backs, Mondre, Bucky, Dowdle, Hunt, Braylon. It would be Kareem Hunt for me first, and then I'd probably still rock with Ramondre. It's a decent matchup for Ramondre. We haven't had this conversation yet about Ramondre. Obviously, you know, there's talks. Someone asked, hey, could Ramondre lose his job if he doesn't fumble? He said it's something we have to consider. The coach is saying that. But to me, this is more of like, hey, Ramondre, this is a warning shot. Figure it out, or we're going to have to take serious action. I still think Ramondre is the running back to start in that backfield.
I agree. I think he is the running back to start. I mean, respectfully, if Ramondre fumbles the ball again, you're just going to give the ball to the guy that already has a history of fumbling throughout his career. Ramondre has the history of fumbling, or has fumbled in the past. He's had a bad start to the year, sure, in fumbling, but Antonio Gibson essentially lost his job because of fumbling.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what's happening with Ramondre Stevenson here. But I think,
which is hilarious to think about as like a Washington fan, the amount of times we've complained about him fumbling, and now Ramondre might lose his job to Antonio Gibson because of a fumble problem. By the way, I know my Washington Commanders are up, Badaki, because for the first time in my entire life, I'm not kidding you, for the first time in my entire life, there was a comment on our video where someone said I was bandwagoning on Washington. Do you know how exciting that is to hear? I have never, ever in my life heard someone say, look at this guy, Washington's playing well, now he's a Washington fan. That is such a cool comment to get. So it's exciting times in Washington, in the capital. Melissa love here with a super chat. I appreciate you, Melissa. Thanks for the donation. If JT is out, start Kareem Hunt or Sermon. Also, flex Deontay Johnson, Wicks, or Worthy. So, if JT is out, this is Sermon for me. Obsessed with the matchup for the Colts this week versus those Jags. And, you know, it's funny because we have seen players in this backfield before be the backup to Jonathan Taylor and be very good for fantasy football. For example, last year with Zach Moss. Remember, guys, last year, Zach Moss, nobody wanted to play him when JT went down. Why? Because he was completely mediocre in Buffalo as a player. And then he gets behind that offensive line with Indianapolis and is a must start every week. So this would be Trey Sermon for me, and then Deontay Johnson would be my start. Deontay Johnson's a top 12 wide receiver for me right now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy right now with Deontay Johnson. It's wild, the turnaround there. But I do agree with you. Trey Sermon, Deontay Johnson are two guys I am starting here, Melissa. So we really appreciate that super chat. I think you do have an interesting lineup there and hard decisions with Wicks and Worthy because of their situation. But I think we need to go with guys that we know are going to get the ball, which I think we're projecting Wicks and Worthy to get the ball, where we have already seen Deontay. And if Jonathan Taylor doesn't play, then Sermon, we know he's going to at least get 15 touches there in that backfield. But thank you so much for that super chat. The Dennis family, Tommy, your boy Briggs Broccoli, we appreciate you. We see you there as well.
Let's answer. This is our friend. This is our friend here, one of our best friends. I'm going to answer for him real quick. I'm going to say Wicks and Ayuk.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Got you, Tom.
I'm with you there.
The Dennis family. Braylon Allen, Adunze, Bigsby, or Justice Hill for the flex. Let's start there. I think I'm still going to rock it with Adunze for the upside play here.
Yep, I agree. Who the Bears played this week? They played the Panthers. Yeah, so I definitely want to start.
It's getting close to Braylon as the answer in this question, but it is Bigsby for now. Devontae's my wide receiver too, and I know he's sitting this week. No worries, man. Yeah. The good news, if you own Devontae, it's like, oh, wow. I mean, at some point, he could be on a different team. That could be relatively exciting. But here's the big issue. The big issue is, what team is he going to go to? How long will I not have him? It's kind of like, do you almost wish he was just playing a little bit? I don't know. So,
I agree.
Appreciate the donation. Next one is from Julius, who says Brian Thomas or Achane at the flex, drop AR for Geno, struggling at quarterback, and have Kyler.
Can't find his question, but it's right underneath it. Brian Thomas or Achane at the flex.
I'm still gonna play Achane because I believe he is such a good floor play. It's a great question. It really is. I'm so excited about Brian this week, but I think Achane is just a great floor play. And then, to be fair, if Anthony Richardson plays, this is maybe the best matchup for him to bounce back you could ask for on his schedule versus the Jags, who are imploding on a weekly basis. So, would you start A-Rich or Geno Smith this week? I guess is the question there.
Man, look, Anthony Richardson is, I think the way I'm seeing it now is like, I'm not putting him in like that high upside category play because I think what we've seen is that they really are trying to throw the ball. He hasn't been rushing the way we thought. I mean, the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, 37 rushing yards,
The
24 rushing
rushing
yards,
attempts are
24.
weird. I mean,
Like it's not there because he wants to throw the ball. They want to
through
throw the
three
ball,
weeks,
which
he's
is
averaging like 6 rushing attempts, which makes little to no sense at all.
and it's like I don't know if because that was a conversation, right? Well,
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson is going to run the ball. His upside is going to be there. It's not there even when he's on the field fully healthy. So it's like I actually need to see the switch in Anthony Richardson, not even as a passer now, just as a rusher. Like
I
throw
think
the
that's fair.
passing out the window. I'm gonna go with Geno Smith here, even if Anthony Richardson plays. But I will start Kyler Murray over Geno. I'm not sure about you though.
I'd start Kyler over Geno for sure. Yeah, I'd start Kyler. But, you know, there's a weird part. Okay, so it's interesting you brought that up. Anthony Richardson right now averaging about 6 rushing attempts a game. Last year, the 2 games he was healthy where he was a superstar, he had 10 rushing attempts in both of those games. It's weird the way they're using him. It really is. Like, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my concern
What,
with Geno this week is that, like, respectfully to you, if Malik Neighbors isn't out there and Devin Singletary isn't out there, how long can, like, is Geno going to be needed at all? Is my question. Do you know what I mean? Like, Ken Walker's healthy. Are they not just going to run all over you guys the entire second half?
I just feel like our only quote unquote strength is our run defense. So our secondary is abysmal.
That's true until you have no one to throw the ball to and your offense doesn't move the ball. You know?
Yeah, and I get it. So.
For me, I think I am going to go Richardson over Geno, but I play Kyler over both of them. It's really close.
Yeah, I agree.
Ryan, I appreciate the donation, man. Ryan says 12-man PPR. He's 1-3. Should he trade away Mason and Hurts for Reed and Aaron Jones? He's showing us the rest of his lineup here as well. He's 1-3. He has a 12-team league. He's trying to capitalize on Jordan Mason here. I feel like the Reed and Aaron Jones side has a lot more value, personally, than the Mason Hurts side. And Mason is my number 1 running back in my rankings this week, but I just feel like Jaden Reed and Aaron Jones are smash plays every week.
Yeah, I would agree. Give me Reed and Jones.
The wide receiver room is going to get a huge upgrade there.
Exactly. I was going to say, because you're already trading Jalen Hurts. You have Jaden Daniels already, so you're kind of chilling there. In a 12-team one quarterback, and when Jaden Daniels goes on by, you just pick up Geno Smith, you pick up a Daniel Jones, a Baker Mayfield, whoever's available. You get what I'm saying. So I would agree. And you have Trey Sermon now that you might be able to sell high on, if Jonathan Taylor's going to miss some time. So I would agree. Give me the Reed and Jones side there.
Yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page there. I mean, that's going to get a big boost to your wide receiver room. Hey guys, if you want your question answered straight away, you want to skip the queue, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can donate a super chat, which is totally fine option. The other way is by asking a question through our website. We believe that's the best experience for you. And obviously it benefits us because YouTube doesn't take 30% of the donation you're trying to send our way. So check out that pinned comment there. But the next super chat that I can see is from Munch, who says 12-man, start 8, trade Moss for McLaurin. I have Daniels for the stack. My wide receivers are CD, Deontay, Kupp, Waddle, Downs. Running backs are Achane, Mason, Monty, Moss. Okay, so I do like the idea of moving off of Zach Moss at this point. Like, respectfully, I think if you drafted Zach Moss, you were kind of the winner of that situation, and now you can pivot before people realize that there is a change coming. Like, remember, we always say, how you draft is not how your team's going to look out like when you're in the playoffs or when you finish. So to me, right now, there's a lot of faith in Zach Moss, a bunch of great weeks in his belt. I think now you can trade him away for an asset like Terry McLaurin. So I'd be totally fine with that. I'd view them very similarly, but obviously with Terry getting Jaden Daniels and Jaden Daniels starting to take off and Chase Brown starting to eat into that work, I think this is a perfect idea of drafting a guy that you thought was going to start and then trading him before any changes happen.
I agree. And yeah, I completely agree. And I'm okay with your running back depth here with Achane, Mason, and Monty. I think the 2 starting running backs is going to be Achane and Monty there. Yeah. And then obviously, hopefully CMC takes his sweet old time because you do have Jordan Mason. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, look at my stash video today. Try and get a Madison, a Sermon, an Audric Estimé on your roster. Those kind of names.
just to see what happens there. We appreciate that super chat. Roy, thank you so much. He says Deontay Johnson, Addison, Tyreek Hill start 2. This will be
Deontay for sure.
Deontay for me, and then I'm still starting Tyreek Hill over Brian Thomas.
Yeah, and we're getting that question a lot, Tyreek versus Brian Thomas. I'll just say this, we can give you our opinion, guys, but ultimately go with your gut on that call. I will say Brian Thomas's matchup is absolutely incredible. He is balling out. He looks so good. He's creating separation with ease. He should have had more points if Trevor Lawrence didn't overthrow him in the back of the end zone last week, but it's just hard to sit Tyreek Hill. I think another week out, Mike McDaniels knows that they need to change some things. Tyreek Hill is getting impatient. It's just tough to sit him in a good matchup versus the Patriots. But if you want to party and you want that gut call and you want to start Brian, go for it. It's a tough call, but ultimately, remember, fantasy's supposed to be fun. If you start Brian and he pops off, you'll feel so smart,
Yeah, we appreciate that super chat. Thank you so much. Andy Dominguez, hey, we appreciate you. He says trade away Tank Dell for Waddle. If you can do that, I think we will all do that right now, especially with the expectation, especially reports saying that Tua, is going to be coming back onto the field or hoping that he's going to come back to the field. So give me Jalen Waddle right now.
Yeah, I brought out a video today with the stashes. There's also trade targets, and Waddle was on that. Here's my concern with doing this right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to wait until week 8. So we're still 1, 2, 3 weeks away from Waddle being the guy you want to play. And I could see Tank Dell's value potentially being revived when he's back. So, look, there's little risk in acquiring Jalen Waddle here because we know he's going to be a good play when Tua's back.
Sure.
However, all I'm saying is Tank Dell might improve his value in that time, and you might be feeling like in 3 weeks from now, if Tank Dell has 2 top 24 finishes and, Waddle hasn't been good because there's no Tua yet, you might be like, damn, I could have got more. So it's kind of a gut call. I don't think you'll regret trading for Waddle rest of season, but you might miss out on a good Tank Dell game here and there. But overall, if I'm chilling and my record's already good, I'm probably taking Waddle.
Yeah, I understand. JT, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, half PPR, 1 flex, Scott Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Monty. Should I trade Monty for Etienne and Bigsby or for Dobbins? No, I'm not. I'm personally not doing that. I'm not sure what Zach will be doing, but I would want Monty over Etienne still, even if you have Etienne and Bigsby and Dobbins. That's first.
Should I trade Monty for Etienne and Bigsby? Yeah, no.
I just think the way this offense is running, Monty is like, if you look at weeks where Monty, like, there is only 1 week where Monty got over 50% of the snap share, and that's technically his best week. But his floor is so good because he's always going to get into the end zone there.
Monty is not going away. If you own Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery is not going away. He's just not. There's no reason for them to take him away. He's so good.
I agree. It's just so hard to stop them because it's fresh legs every time in that backfield.
It makes no sense for them to give just one guy all the work. It really doesn't. Their offense is so much better when they're shuffling between those two guys.
Yeah, I agree.
The Dennis family says, I also have Kraft. Sorry, guys. So that was in relation to his question when he said, I guess, like, who he's starting. So would you start Tucker Kraft or Dunze? Because we answered a Dunze earlier.
Right.
I might. I think Kraft's a safer play at floor. But I think Odunze is the higher upside. So I think it depends on the matchup that you're looking at. Is the guy across from you missing a bunch of players due to injuries and buys? Let's put in Tucker Kraft. But if the guy across from you has all the superstars healthy, no one on bye, and your team is on struggle street, I'll probably throw a Dunze out there and see what happens. Excuse my language. Sorry. Family friendly.
Family friendly. And he said this is the Dennis family again.
Shit. Oh my god.
The hell. Yeah, this is a tough call. This is a tough call. I would go with Zach. If you need a safe floor type of play, Tucker Kraft could be it, and Rome Dunze can be it. By the way, DJ Moore revenge game, which I'm pretty sure he had last year already. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He just had a better quarterback last year.
Yeah, if not, I'm really believing for it as a DJ Moore owner. But Thank you so much to the
I'm
Dennis family. We
joking.
appreciate you.
I'm just joking. I think Caleb's gonna be fine, but he's just got a lot
I
of
mean,
growing
look,
to do. He does.
in
He
the, in
just
the
has a
last in
lot
the
of
last
growth.
4 weeks, in the first 4 weeks, Justin Fields has been better as a quarterback than Caleb Williams. But to be fair,
He's
Caleb
also been
Williams.
in the NFL for 4 years.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Caleb Williams is also a rookie. Solvable C, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, "Is Kyler a starter or should I grab Geno?" Also, I mean,
To me, it's Kyler for a couple of reasons. Like I said with Geno, I think he's a fine play. He's a great stream versus your Giants, but there is some concern for me that the game might get out of hand if there's no Devin Singletary, if there's no Malik Neighbors. I don't see how your offense is going to move the ball successfully, and I just don't see why the Seahawks are a pass-heavy offense. But if they don't need to pass, I think they'd be happy to run the clock out with Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet. So to me, this is just going Kyler Murray because I don't see a scenario in which Kyler Murray doesn't have to throw the ball versus the 49ers.
yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of bad blood what's the phrase, bad blood in people's mouth based off the way Kyler Murray played last week. I think I'm hearing a lot of reports Kyler Murray gave up on his team last week. He did this and that. It's like, I understand. This is a divisional game. I still would rather start Kyler Murray because of his rushing upside as well. I understand and I think there's a lot of recency bias here as well. You just saw Geno Smith throw for like 4 touchdowns against a decent team because they were down. Like, if anything, we should think about that same way about Kyler Murray against a decent team, and we kind of expect him to be down as well.
Sure.
That's kind of where I would say. But
there's a lot of evidence historically that Kyler Murray is a good fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, and he had one bad week. I think everyone's saying, well, should I start Kyler Murray or should I start someone else over Kyler Murray now? It's like, it's only one bad week, guys.
But it's a fair question to ask, I guess, just because he didn't play well. Now it's a tough matchup, but I wouldn't panic. Like, if I had a different option, we heard someone say Jaden Daniels. Yeah, go that way. But I'm not going to stream someone because Kyler's facing the Niners, for example. But by the way, if you guys know this by now, the Wix Hive, we were on board this offseason.
The Wix Hive.
And we just had a tweet come out from a quote from LaFleur. So if you don't mind, if you're a part of the Wix Hive like me, you're on the train. I just want to get excited about starting Dontavion Wicks this week. But he says, I'm excited about him and what he can become because we all see the talent. He's tough to guard in the line of scrimmage. I know what he's capable of doing. We just got to get it out on a consistent basis.
He just has to be consistent.
Now he's got a huge stretch of games where he can just absolutely break out. We're so excited to start him. Anyway.
The solvable C has the second part. He says, also, who should I start in flex? Hunt, Wicks, Mooney, or Pickens? Thank you guys. You guys rock. Well, there you go.
I'm rocking with Dontavion, the Baba Yaga himself. Dontavion Wicks.
Dontavion Wicks over.
I'm putting Wicks out there.
For me, this is genuinely between Kareem Hunt and Dontavion Wicks.
Yeah, I agree.
And I would go Kareem Hunt because, once again, guys, it's not that.
Sure.
I've been anti Dontavion Wicks all offseason because I was on the train of Christian Watson hopefully staying healthy. He obviously gets injured, but I think this game was also skewed as well. They were down. Jordan Love was throwing the ball down the field, and I think Romeo Doubs is going to get a little bit more involved in it. I'm not saying Wicks is going to have a bad game. I just think we need to temper our expectations. So I'm going to go Kareem Hunt.
I do
like Wicks though.
I agree with the idea that we temper expectations, but I don't think it's fair to say like they threw the ball a lot. That's why Wicks was good. That's not fair because Wicks had a 26% target share. It was far higher than any other player on the team, and Dobbs and Jayden Reed were both healthy. So I definitely agree we should temper expectations. He's not going to score 2 touchdowns. He's not going to get 13 targets every game. But he was the highest targeted player on that team at 26% target share was very impressive to me. So I agree. Temper expectations. But the idea that he was only good because they threw the ball a lot is inaccurate to me because he was the number 1 target for Jordan Love that week.
I just think that Romeo is going to be the number 2 there because that's kind of what he was last year when I think we saw Reed miss a couple games and
when
then
Reed was out.
Watson.
when Watson was out for fantasy, you would have rather started Wicks over Dobbs for a lot of those games. And we're talking about Wicks, who is in his second year, right? I mean, a younger player and who, as a rookie, probably didn't have as much respect with his coaching staff. And we're talking about Wicks, who was already splitting snaps with Watson. It's not like Watson had like a huge hold over that job. He was already splitting snaps with Watson, and now he gets full reign of the offense. Anyway, I won't bore people with my Wicks love.
But yeah, I mean, once again, I think lower expectations. He's still going to have a good week. I will still go Kareem Hunt. Anyways,
we did get a question through the website. Let's get to Zach's first because I've already hearted it. He says, Abe, maybe have Gibbs, Mixon, Achane, Jamar Neighbors, Reed, Devonta Smith, Scary Terry. Do I move Reed for Monty?
Do I move Reed for Monty?
You've already got Gibbs, Mixon, and Achane. No, keep Jaden Reed.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I think you have good enough depth there that you don't have to get another running back there. So I would keep it there. Appreciate that super chat, though.
I agree. All right, we do have a question through the website, which is incredible. If you guys haven't checked out our website, I'll pop a link here in the chat for you. If you don't have an account yet, don't worry. You can get a free account with the promo code LAND, LAND. You get a bunch of free tools on the site. And then, of course, you can ask a question. The link will take you to a site that looks like this. And this is from Chris. Shout out to Chris. Need RB2 and wide receiver 1 and 2 and a flex. My second quarterback spot is OP slot, so I can play a quarterback or any skill position. So it's super flex, I think is what he's saying. Start 8, 10-team league. Let's start with the quarterback spot. So he's starting Jaden Daniels. And we are going to put Kyler Murray in there in a super flex league for sure.
I agree there.
Let's go to running back 2. He's between Najee and Rico Dowdle. I'm going to go Najee. It's not been good, but he has the better matchup. He has less competition in his backfield. I just don't want to start Rico versus the Steelers.
Agreed.
And then at wide receiver, we can choose between a lot of great names here. Olave's got to be in play for me.
I agree.
I'm also going to play Ayuk. I know it hasn't been good, but I'm still going to play Ayuk.
I agree.
And then it is a difficult decision between DJ Moore and Dontavion Wicks and Kirk for me. I think all these guys are in play, but I am going to still lean DJ Moore, I think, myself.
Yeah, I'm going to go DJ Moore here as well.
Such a tough
for me,
call
this,
there.
Yeah, for me, this is between DJ Moore and Christian Kirk, but, you know, it's kind of crazy. Christian Kirk has outscored DJ Moore the last 2 weeks. I wonder
a lot of people have. That's what concerns me.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder what Christian Kirk is doing from weeks 2 to 4.
Is this the last week that we say we're starting DJ Moore because of his name? I mean, look, it's not just his name. The matchup's pretty good versus Carolina too.
Yeah, I agree. Where is Kirk here? Okay, never mind. Still wide receiver 30 in weeks 2 to 4. But yes, give me DJ Moore.
Okay, so we are relatively on the same page there. That's a really tough call, though, Chris. I can definitely see why this was a question that you asked. And then I guess your question is, do you start Kyler Murray or Wicks or Kirk? And we're going to put Kyler Murray still into our lineups. It's just easier for a quarterback to score a touchdown than a positional player. They just have so many more opportunities to do so. So, tough question, but overall, like, to be honest, you should feel very good about this team. This team is pretty stacked. So, and if I'm you, honestly, I don't know what your running backs are that you didn't list, but I'm probably packaging Najee and DJ Moore or something, Najee and Kirk, and trying to upgrade at RB2. But good team, man. Good team.
Yeah, great team. Love it.
All right. What's our next question on the super chats here?
I think it's Tavo. I think I'm saying that right. Starter flex, Wick, Shaheed, Shakira, Moss. This is where I'm happy to go Wicks. Obviously, Shakira is not starting or is not practicing. Shaheed is interesting. An interesting start here against the Chiefs, but I'm happy to go Wicks here.
Yeah. Sorry, there was a... Okay, it's not like a new report. They're just talking about Rashee Rice. I mean, the Chiefs are obviously using some sort of black magic, and I'm all for it.
I was telling, sorry, excuse me, I'll be honest. I was telling Zach that this before the stream, like, why is it like all under wraps? Like, why is it like, why has it been 4 days and we still don't know the diagnosis of Rashee Rice that got injured probably in one of the first plays of the game, but we still don't know. Like what is happening? Like, why are they playing it like so chill right now, as if like something dramatic is going to change? Like,
Well,
just get it out.
clearly you're not familiar with the dark magic world. I mean, have you never watched Shrek?
I don't watch that stuff, man.
For example, if you remember when Donkey took the potion, it didn't happen straight away. I mean, if you remember correctly, they took the potion and then they left the premises, and then overnight a transformation happened. So they could have taken a scan, and then Rashee consumes the dark magic, and maybe they need to rescan because anything is possible. So clearly they have access to dark magic that the Niners don't have for Christian McCaffrey.
Why, is it dark magic, or just there's a God in heaven that heals instantly?
Could it be both? Could God create the magic? All right, the locker room
anyways
says was offered Deontay Johnson and Jameson for Neighbors. I would rather keep Neighbors there.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
A super chat here from Sir Yeti. What's up, brother? I know you're a Commanders fan. It's such a fun season, isn't it? Start 2, Hill, Neighbors, Terry if he plays Neighbors.
Yeah,
if Neighbors plays, you start him and Tyreek.
I feel a little bit more confident. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah.
I know my rankings have Tyreek Hill over Terry, but like I feel more confident in the consistency that Terry has been bringing on a week-to-week basis so far over Tyreek Hill.
It's fair. I mean, I have them in the same tier this week. I just would rather start Tyreek.
Yeah,
but I get the question.
I kind of agree there. A failure.
And by the way, if Neighbors doesn't play, then you won't. You kind of hope you don't have to make this decision, but you obviously prefer Neighbors to play. Anyway, failure's no option is up next.
Yeah, PPR start 2 flex. Start 2 flex. So start 2 people out of these names: Harrison, Garrett Wilson, Addison Wicks, Brian Thomas. This is Marlon Harrison and Garrett Wilson still for me.
This is really Garrett Wilson's last opportunity to show us something. The Vikings are a great matchup, a top 5 matchup. If he can't do it right now, I don't know when he does. The fact that they're spreading the ball everywhere. And if Devontae Adams goes to New York, respectfully, it might help Garrett Wilson's fantasy value. Now, the more I think about it, I mean, probably not. But anyway, in order, I would go Marvin, Garrett, Thomas, Wicks, Addison. But the first 4 are all really exciting options to play.
I agree. We did get one in the website here.
Okay, I actually already clicked on Bentley, so I don't want to lose track. I'll go to the website.
Yeah,
sure, 1 and 3 must win this week. Drop Pitt's defense for Denver's defense. I would
I think Denver,
very hesitant to drop Pittsburgh's defense, though.
Yes, I'm hesitant to drop Pittsburgh's defense. I would say if you want to start a defense over Pittsburgh this week, I think Denver would be the defense going against the Raiders at home. No Devontae Adams. That's kind of where I tried to pick up Denver's defense in the Flock League, wasn't able to get him.
You know what? I think that's really fair because I kind of underestimated them looking at the teams they've played and how well they performed. So yeah, I'm fine to go ahead and pick up Denver. I do
agree though. Like I want to hold on to Pittsburgh's.
Pull a Mason Dodd and try and trade the defense away.
Yeah.
Well, I did that one year to Tommy. If your boy Bricks is still watching. So if it's a newer league, you might be able to trade the defense away. Probably not, though. I mean, Denver's a fine option there. But you're right. We do have a question via the website. So let's have a look here. Hold on. Let me pull that up. Appreciate you guys for submitting over there. It really does help us out. Saves us some of your donation that YouTube tries to take away, and of course it's a better experience for you. But Sharp Supreme, this is a dynasty question. This is fun. I can't wait to get back into dynasty, by the way. He says also includes another second 2027. I have Achan and Barkley. Need a running back the next 2 weeks. Elliott otherwise. So basically, it's a dynasty question. It has to be. I mean, he says redraft, but this has to be a dynasty question if we're talking second round picks in 2027 and 2025. Unless it's a keeper league.
Yeah. Basically, also includes another second 27. So you're saying like there's the trade, the official trade is a 25 second and a 27 second for Brian Robinson.
So 2 seconds is the way I'm taking it.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing this. Look, I would say this, and I feel like I answered a question similar on the fantasy hotline. I'm happy to get Brian Robinson. I think he's going to be, like the way I'm projecting him going into the next couple of years, that I think he's going to hold on to his role. He's going to be a guy they want to continue to use. Would I do this for 25 second specifically? No. Even if it's an early second, because how deep this running back class, and I've been saying this all off season, if you need a running back, I am not trading my first or seconds to acquire a running back. I want that to reset, unless I'm getting Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, unless I'm getting the top guys. And I don't know if I want to still do this for a 25 second. Early 25 second.
If I'm competing, I see this from both sides. If I'm competing right now, Brian Robinson's a great running back to go ahead and add. If I'm trying to sell him, I would not sell him for just a second rounder. Not with the way this offense is looking and projecting to be. Not with the way he's playing. He's playing like a star. Not a superstar, a star. All right. And so I think this is fair. I really do. I think this is fair. And if I'm competing and I need Brian Robinson, I think 2 seconds is a fair offer. So,
and I agree.
I think both sides are.
I just don't want to do it for a 25. Like, if I could do this for a 26 early second, hypothetically, let's say you have one, sure, let's get it done. But I think you can get a talent just potentially better than Brian Robinson. Let's say that's a 201, and a running back falls, and how deep, quote unquote, how deep this class is going to be at the running back position. You might regret that. But I understand. Zach's.
You might end up with Dameon Pierce
or you end up with a Dameon Pierce, or yeah, exactly. Like, it just depends on what this looks like. But according to what is looking like, 25 class is going to be great at the running back position.
Might be the whole first round of rookie drafts, but I think that's really dead even. Hopefully, you're able to hear us talk through that. You'll be sent a time code. Again, another great feature of the website. If you guys are donating super chats and you're like, come on, get to my super chat, we are obviously going to do it. We appreciate you, but the great part of the site is you can ask a question, you can go do whatever you want, and then you'll be sent a link to the time code when we answer your question. It's such a great site. We're excited to be a part of it. But the next super chat is from Robert Cano.
I'm back. Robert Cano.
Go ahead.
Yeah, full PPR. I just traded Javonte Williams, I'm assuming, for Jacoby.
Yeah, I love that.
That's interesting.
I really like do.
That.
Actually.
I like that as well.
That's kind of like a 200 IQ play, if I'm honest with you.
What did Myers do last week without? Okay, go 5 out of 10, 9 points.
And you know what you do next? You go pick up Audric Estime off the waiver wire for free and stash him. That could be comedy if Audric takes over that job.
He said the Ayuk owner said he'll take Jacoby in a secondary trade, except.
Wow. So wait, you can get Ayuk for Jacoby Myers?
Like,
and take Ayuk? What in the world?
Yeah, but I'm assuming you said in a secondary, like just a second trade? Sure, like do it. He said yes. Yeah, do it. Do it, Robert.
What is happening? Yes. Wow. Dude. Get off the stream right now and hit accept.
Get off the stream. Get off the stream.
You.
Swipe
also,
out.
Sermon or Ayuk, if I get him, I'd start Ayuk there, but it's close.
I'll start Ayuk, yeah. I agree.
I mean, if you trade for him, imagine trading for him, Robert, and then playing him, and if he plays well, that's what happened to me and Amari Cooper in the Flock League. You traded for the guy, everyone's like, what are you doing? And then you started him, and everyone's like, oh, they just eat their words straight away. I just think that would be so funny. Mole Rat with a donation here says, thoughts on Adams and Jones for CD? Aaron Jones is the truth right now, though. What
I
do you
still
think
want
here?
CeeDee Lamb. I would rather have CeeDee Lamb still. I would say this: if Aaron Jones is your RB2 and you have Rico Dowdle or you have Kareem Hunt or you have a Najee Harris, I'm not sure I want to do this. I
Okay.
think the bigger question is like, who are your running backs? But I think with no context, I want CeeDee Lamb side.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's fair. That's a good assessment of that situation. If it's a smaller league as well, I think I lean CeeDee Lamb. We got a super chat from the locker room, but they deleted the comment, so we can't see it. Willie Bones is the next super chat, and he says, "Should I sit Achane for Kareem Hunt?"
No, I'm still starting Devon. What are you doing there?
Yeah, I am too. Sorry, I was just thinking it through. Like in theory, this should be a good game for Achane because the Patriots are not a good offense, so they should be able to run the ball a lot. And Kareem Hunt,
Yeah.
it's like we kind of need one more week to have a little more confidence that he's definitely the guy, but it definitely looks that way. So we're going to go Achane because we know the touches are there. Next one's from Espra Mount, or it might be ES Paramount. I don't know. But is it time to drop Rice? Someone drop Mixon. Should I drop Rice for me? Okay. I do not want to drop Rashee Rice, but there is no scenario in which Joe Mixon should be on any waiver wire. I don't care if you play in a 4-man league.
I would say you drop Rice if it's confirmed he's out for the rest of the season. Yes, you can drop him, but no, you can't drop him now.
There's got to be another player you can drop other than Rashee Rice.
Sure, I agree. I completely agree. But like if the message came out now that Rashee Rice is out for the season, yeah, you're dropping Rice for Mixon. We don't know that information yet. But yes, there should be another player.
I'd love to ask a follow-up question, which would be, who is on your bench right now? Who's in your starting lineup? Tell me your team, because I feel so confident that there's got to be a different name out there that you can drop other than Joe Mixon, right? I mean, there just got to be.
Other than Rashee Rice, I mean, let's just say this is an 8-man league, excuse me. And at the wide receiver position, he probably has George Pickens.
Yeah, right.
He probably has DJ Moore. He probably has Zay Flowers. He probably has Jamison Williams, Brian Thomas.
Well,
like I don't know. Like, I'm just throwing out names.
Myers, which we've talked about recently, and Kyle Pitts.
I'm just thinking of higher names because of 8-man league. Yeah, but if not, we'll wait for that. But we'll go to the next one. Wayne Black, thank you so much. He says, should I trade Chuba and Scary Terry for Josh Jacobs? I personally would do that, absolutely, especially with the expectation of Jonathan Brooks coming back. I know he was supposed to come back, at least our expectation that he was going to come back in week 5. At least the leagues, like in fantasy, right? You miss 4 weeks, you go on IR, you hope to come back in week 5. But once Jonathan Brooks is on that field, Chuba Hubbard's, I think, value is going to drop unless it's going to be like a 2-headed monster type of scenario. And if you do need a running back, I'll take Josh Jacobs here.
Well, there's 2 looming situations. One we don't want to see, one we do. One is Bryce Young could come back and there's no value. The other is, obviously, Jonathan Brooks could take over the backfield. I got this weird feeling that Scary Terry's this year's Nico Collins, though. That's what's really concerning to me, in the sense of like young rookie quarterback supports a superstar receiver. Now that they've kind of figured some things out, I believe I have Jacobs over Terry rest of the season, but this could be one that haunts you. Can you get something else back? Can you get a Jacobs and a Jacoby Myers, which we just talked about? You know, can you get a Jacobs and a Dontavion Wicks, a Shaheed, a Leggett, a Dell? But overall, I think I do lean the Jacobs side of that. I'm just being honest with you in the sense of like,
I'm just being honest.
It's tough. But Paramount said, 8-man, I got Debo, Neighbors, J-Mo, Wicks. Drop Jameson then. Drop Wicks then, actually.
I was gonna say, do you want Wicks over Jameson? I would want Jameson over Wicks.
If Watson hit the IR, I would have said Wicks, but Watson hasn't hit the IR, so
Yeah,
it
I
would be
agree.
Wicks. Drop Wicks.
It'll be Wicks for me.
By the way,
Mhm.
someone said oil me up.
Oil him up. Come on, get that baby oil like
Yeah,
P
we're
Diddy.
doing what we have to do. Where Mason's, he's got requirements, and we're trying to meet them. XOXO Gossip Girl says, are Pittman, Waddle, and Calvin Ridley worth holding on to or trade? And what running backs to target with those pieces? Okay, 14 team it's so good that you put that information in there, because in a 10 team, Calvin Ridley has no value.
Yeah.
In a 10 team, none of these names have value right now. But in a 14 team, people are scraping at the bottom of the barrel. The waiver wires are completely naked. So they do have value. Here's the unfortunate part. Nobody wants those players.
Nobody.
So
look, the only person. Sorry, continue, and I'll tell you.
All I was gonna say is, so in general, rule of thumb, you can't trade someone who has sucked 4 weeks in a row, and that's most of these players. I mean, Pittman had a good week, but people know A-Rich could come back. Ridley's been absolutely dog water. And Waddle is someone that you want to hold because Tua could come back at some point. I just don't know how you trade any of these names. Maybe you could trade Pittman off that big game.
That's what I was gonna say. You could probably trade Michael Pittman. That's probably the best player you can trade out of all these names.
Pittman or Addison?
In a 14 man, Addison.
Pittman or Worthy?
If Rashee Rice is out, I want for the rest of the season. I want Worthy.
Pittman or JSN?
JSN.
Pittman or Zay Flowers? You might be able to get that done actually with this weird offense.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would say I would want Michael Pittman just based off of the game scripts.
Yeah, you have that flyer there that Flacco could play. Okay, how about Pittman or Terry Higgins? We take
Terry,
those other names, right?
Higgins, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree. The rest, like Waddle, I would say we would rather keep because Tua might come back, and then Calvin, you can't really do much with Calvin right now unless he has like a big game. If he has a big game like he had in week 2, like Michael Pittman, this week, then you can do. Michael Pittman, by the way, has had more yards in one game in week 4 than in weeks 1 to 3 combined. That's
because Joe Flacco is that guy.
Dude,
but to be fair, some of his receptions did come from A-Rich. I have to give A-Rich credit. A-Rich played well with like fair. The 4 snaps he played, but it was more than that. It's hyperbole, but anyway. I think Kick is the next one. Kicks.
Yeah, Kicks. Thank you so much for the super chat. Flex pick 2, Lost Rice, Addison, JSN, Wicks, Waddle. This would be JSN, and for me, this would be. Let me just triple check. I think I do have Addison over Wicks. This would be Jordan Addison.
Okay, this is definitely Wicks and JSN for me. So we're there on JSN, but I am wheels up on Dontavion Wicks here.
Wheels up.
And Just Chrome here says, which defense, Miami, New England, or Seattle?
I would say if Malik Neighbors doesn't play, I'll go Seattle. But
yeah, Seattle's looking like a good start.
I think if Malik Neighbors does play, I think we'll be a little bit better, and we'll probably end up scoring at least once. And Daniel Jones has only been sacked, I think, once in every 3 games out of the first 4 weeks. So like, we don't have that terrible offensive line. Just letting you guys know, like it's not last year Daniel Jones. Like you want to start this any defense going against because their offensive line. But yes, I would say Seattle's probably the best one.
I just went to my home leagues and see if that defense was available. Not available anywhere. So yeah, we'll go Seattle.
Demetrios, how you doing, brother? Hi, thank you for the super chat. He says I have Joe Burrow, but I also have DK. Do I pick up Geno just for this week, or do I stack thoughts? Now I'm going Joe Burrow this week. Should be a high-scoring game against the Ravens, playing at home, playing at the jungle.
That's a little bit of overthinking. Sometimes we can think we're playing 40 chess, but we're actually just playing checkers. So yeah, I wouldn't overthink that personally.
Thank you so much, though, Jonathan. PPR Bucky Irvin Thursday or Ramondre Stevenson. I'm still going Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm still going Ramondre Stevenson.
A little bit bleak at the moment, but I would still go Ramondre as well.
I agree. Morat. Have Chase Brown as RB2, Pacheco and Rice on IR. I mean, that if that's your best option, that's all you got, brother. And that's unfortunate. But hey, what Chase Brown did last week, hopefully that's going to change because they play the Ravens and, maybe they have to get the ball out of their hands a little bit more and Chase Brown could be the pass catching guy. But
Yeah,
I mean,
look,
technically Zach Moss got caught more opportunities than Chase Brown last week. So
yeah, if Chase Brown's truly your best option, I think he's asking this because of the trade he talked about earlier, where he would get Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones for CeeDee Lamb. I think that's why he's saying this.
Why don't I remember that? Oh, right. Okay. I
But
just went up and read it.
I still feel like I'm holding here.
No, I can't do that. You can't do that trade, Mo-Rap. I don't think you can trade Adams and Jones and then you're not going to have an RB2 essentially. What happens if Chase Brown
Well,
what happens if that 1 week is just a fluke in the Bengals? Like, I don't project that to be, but what happens if it is? If there's a world that is.
We know Adams is not going to play this week, so in theory, this trade should still be available next week.
In theory, sure.
I'm confused on which side he has though, because for me, I just want the CeeDee Lamb side. I understand the context, but I'd rather just have CeeDee Lamb and just see if Chase Brown develops into being the guy.
Sure.
Rather than waiting on, is Adams going to play this week? Is he going to play next week? Because now you're just creating a bigger problem in your lineup because you don't have CeeDeeLamb and you don't know when Adams is going to come back. So,
but if his running backs are pretty bad though, I think if his running backs are bad,
no, they are.
He doesn't.
I'm just going to go to the waiver wire, though. I'm going to try and figure it out through the waiver wire. I'm going to try and get a Madison. I'm going to try and get a Trey Sermon. I'm going to try and, pick up some names that are stashes that I could figure out the running back position with. I'm just not going to trade away CD personally.
I think my next question there, Morat, would be sure.
Tyrone Tracy. Sorry to interrupt, but Tyrone Tracy's got to be available in a lot of leagues right now. I just picked him up in our home league before the stream.
Let's just say he has Aaron Jones and Ramondre Stevenson. Are you still doing this trade? Like, if he had Saquon Barkley and Aaron Jones, sure. But if he had a lower tier, technically RB1, like, what if he went late round running backs and it hasn't been paying off for him? Like, that's where my mind now goes.
What I'm trying to say though is I don't think. Okay, when do you think Devontae Adams plays again?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Exactly. So you're trading for Aaron Jones, and you're like, great, I fixed my running back position. Oh shit, I lost CeeDee Lamb and I can't play Adams. When is he coming back? Is he being traded? Is he holding out? Is his hamstring really an injury? So did he ever have an injury, Badaki? That's something we have to ask. Was he ever injured? No one's saying that. Was he ever injured, or is he just trying to get out? So
it was a last minute thing. Like, it wasn't, he got injured, quote unquote, I think on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, according to reports. That's why he didn't play last week.
Yeah, I'm just keeping
pace
CD.
to play. Yeah, I hear you. Thank you so much for that super chat. And the next one is
legendary one.
Yeah, legendary one. Start 2, flex 1. So choose 3 people out of this.
Okay.
Ramondre, Breece Hall, Brandon Allen, Wicks, Garrett Wilson, Odunze. It's going to be Breece Hall. It's going to be Garrett Wilson. And it's going to be, this is between Ramondre Stevenson and Dontavion Wicks. And I'm going to go Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, it would be Wicks for me. But we're on the same page with the first 2 names, Breece, Garrett Wilson. But I am going to start Wicks out there. I think you picked him up. You picked him up to play him. And the matchup is beautiful. If you're not going to start Wicks now, you're going to wait a couple weeks when Watson's back. I'm going to start him.
Bijan Robinson is good to go.
Good to
Thursday
go.
night, by the way.
Yes, sir. He's going to play. Munch is out here with the question. Says Deontay.
Oh, by the way, sorry. It says Mahomes and Murray. That was the second part.
Good point. Well, it's a tough matchup for Kyler this week, so this is actually a very fair question.
I'm gonna go Kyler Murray just because he's just been averaging more points than Patrick
Yeah,
Mahomes.
with no Rashee Rice, you're kind of limiting the upside of a Patrick Mahomes. So
Imagine they just go back to like, it's Travis Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes, QB1. It's like, okay. So Rashee Rice is good as a fantasy player, but he's just making Patrick Mahomes shit.
that makes no sense. Bro,
He
the
hasn't been
yak
performing.
Rashee Rice helped out Mahomes with on a weekly basis, it just put those numbers way up. But anyway. Yeah,
It is. Yes, I'm gonna go Murray. I'm going Kyler Murray.
I agree with you there. Much says Deontay, Waddle, and Baker for Hill. As in Tyreek Hill, that seems like you're being asked to pay a lot.
The team is in the last super chat.
Maybe I'm misreading this.
But 12 teams start 8. You have Jaden Daniels. Your wide receivers are CD, Deontay, Cup, Waddle, and Downs. Your running backs are Achane, Mason, Monty, Moss. So you're going to trade Deontay, Waddle, and Baker for Hill.
It's a 12-team league.
I'm happy for you to add Baker in that trade. Can we try and sell on Moss high and we want to keep Deontay? Can I switch Moss for Deontay and put Moss, Waddle, and Baker for Hill?
Yeah,
can
that's
we
a
try
great
that
idea,
first?
actually. Let's try that.
I know you're going to have now Waddle and Hill on the same team, but I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, technically you have 3 Dolphins because you have Achane. Oh gosh.
Well, no, we're still sending Waddle away in that deal, right? I thought you said
we are.
Moss,
Sorry, we are.
Waddle, and Baker.
My fault. You're right.
Let's try Moss, Waddle, and Baker. And if he says no, I think you can even try a different combo of. Let me go back to your team of Downs, Waddle, and Mason, for example, right? You can go that route where you throw Mason in there as the piece.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Legendary, we did answer your question, brother. Go back. It was the previous question. We answered it about just 2 minutes ago. Appreciate you, though, for the super chat. The next one is from Rob, who says, half PPR trade Brian Thomas for Garrett Wilson. I have Devontae Adams.
Gosh. I mean, it kind of just goes back to what Zach said. This is kind of make or break for Garrett Wilson. So you can trade for Garrett Wilson, and if he doesn't perform, it's fuck, you should have kept
If Garrett Wilson doesn't go off this week, he will never have top 15 wide receiver.
What's go off? Let's put a number
20
to it,
points. 20 points. PPR, 20 points.
Vikings
if Garrett Wilson finishes with 13 points. Huh?
Vikings, they currently give up the 4th most points to the wide receiver.
Yeah, it's a good matchup. That's why I'm saying if he doesn't go off, it's now or never. If he has a 13-point game, no one's going to value him as a top 15 receiver rest of the season. Nobody's going to give you Olave, London, Higgins, Terry. So it is kind of a gut call here.
It is a good call. And
I feel like
it could be GG's if you get Wilson and then Adams goes to the Jets.
Yeah, exactly.
That would
honestly, I'm probably just holding. I'd rather see what Brian Thomas can do rest of the year.
It's interesting.
Okay, so Devontae Adams
I will try this.
He has actually requested a trade, and he definitely wants to go to the Jets.
It just depending if the Jets are going to give up a second for that. According to reports,
why wouldn't they do that if Aaron Rodgers is there?
He's 31. I think he's 31-year-old wide receiver. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing. I think maybe the best thing that we can do here is give you other names to try and trade for.
I just want to keep Brian Thomas, to be honest.
Actually, yeah, I was going to say if you had Garrett Wilson, you should trade for these players instead. But yes, I'll just keep Brian Thomas.
Yeah. All right, we have to do this every stream, but if you guys are spamming your question in the chat, it's a one-way street to the timeout section. We appreciate you guys. We're glad you're here. But in case you don't know, if you spam a question in the chat, it's going to make any creator not want to answer your question. It's going to make everybody else questions more difficult to find. You're going to make the list longer. We're going to have to repeat if we go through the normal questions. So it's an official warning. Perry is the next super chat here. Flex Kirk, Addison, or Wicks. For me, this is Dontavion Wicks. He said a win puts me at number 1. I do love Kirk as an option here. It's a very good matchup for him, so it's super close for me. But man, they're back-to-back in my rankings. It's so close. It really is.
Yeah, I have Kirk over Wicks this week. I think it's a great matchup playing the Colts. It's clear that they've reverted back to Christian Kirk for whatever the hell they were trying to do the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It clearly wasn't working
Kirk
out.
should be used over Gabe Davis.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna go Christian Kirk here, but it is close with Dontavion Wicks, no doubt.
Yeah. Cuba says A-Rich plays start Wicks or Tyreek.
A-Rich plays start Wicks or Tyreek in the flex over Pitt.
I'm trying to understand how A-Rich plays a part in the question, but
I'm starting Tyreek over Wicks still. In the flex over Pitts, like Kyle Pitts, like you have.
I'd start Wicks. I'd start Tyreek both over Kyle Pitts if that's the question.
Yeah, I agree.
And if I had to choose them, I'd choose Tyreek as the number 1 option there. It's close.
Okay. Chunk.
We do have one more super chat here. We will be live for the next, let's say 10 minutes. Let's put a 10-minute timer on the clock at 45 minutes past the hour. Get your super chats in if you want a guaranteed answer, or you can use the website, of course, with the link in the pinned comment. Otherwise, we'll try to get to the normal questions as well. PM Chunk says flex 1, Sermon, Mooney, Dowdle, Algier.
Well, you kind of have to make the decision in Trey Sermon, yeah. I mean, if Jonathan Taylor is playing, which is highly doubtful, I would go Darnell Mooney, and Mooney plays on Thursday night, which sucks.
It'd be Sermon for me, assuming Jace is not out there.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think he said Pittman, by the way.
Oh, Pittman? I mean, well, look, if Joe Flacco plays, I'll start Pittman over everybody.
Exactly.
But it's leaning towards that not. Okay, I understand why he said A-Rich now. That's my
A-Rich. Okay, so if A-Rich plays, start Wicks or Terry or Michael Pittman. Yeah, right. I'm happy to start Tyreek or Wicks over Michael Pittman. If Joe Flacco plays, I'm starting Michael Pittman with confidence over Tyreek and Wicks.
Okay, yeah. Steve here. Thanks for the donation, man. Your first super chat. He says 12-team PPR. Team is stacked. Traded Adunze and Keenan for Rashee Rice. Stashing for the playoffs. It's a ballsy move, man.
Steven, what do you know?
You must know something. I want you to know something. Please tell me Rashee Rice is okay. I mean,
what do you know, Steven?
If Rashee Rice is coming back in 4 weeks, you will have won this trade by a mile. If he's not playing again this year, obviously you lost the trade. I mean, we know Adunze, he could break out at any moment. He's such a talented player if Caleb Williams figures this out. So I kind of like the... I can't say I would do it. It's a little risky for me.
Yeah, look, it's definitely too risky.
In Dynasty, I'd love it if you could do that, but... Anyway.
I'm just trying to think of, like, what's best case scenario for... Like, we need to find, like, a middle ground. Because I feel like everyone's thinking, oh, best case scenario, he goes on IR, he comes back in 4 weeks. That is best case scenario.
The middle ground is that he's back for the playoffs in real life.
Exactly. Not in fantasy.
Which means still not valuable. But in Dynasty, great, because you get to see him on the field again.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I'm not doing this trade because there's just too much unknowns. And what happens if Ndunze takes a huge step in the second half? What happens if Caleb Williams clicks like we've seen Jaden Daniels and CJ Stroud click? He's just doing it in the second half of the season.
He's no Jaden Daniels. That's for damn sure.
Hopefully that helps. We wouldn't do it, but it is definitely a risky move. Safe and Sound is next in the super chat. Thank you so much for your super chat. He says need wide receiver 1 and 2. Flowers, Shaheed, Moody, Addison, Wicks. This would be
throwing, Flowers and Wicks out there.
Yeah.
Flowers and you're going Addison though, I think, over Wicks.
I would go Addison. No, well, I would go Addison and Wicks.
Oh, so you wouldn't play Flowers? Like honestly,
I wouldn't play Flowers.
I don't blame you for going that direction. It's just, yeah, like if you don't have Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson, that offense is so difficult to be a part of.
And that's what I'm saying.
Cincinnati, I feel like is a matchup that I'm happy to put him out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, he's played Cincinnati twice in his career. He's averaging around 10 points. I get why it's a tough question, man.
Yeah, and I like Addison because I think with, Sauce going to be on Justin Jefferson, there's going to be a big emphasis in stopping the run. Addison could just be this guy that's taking over. I know he didn't get too much targets last week, but I think that's going to grow. He came back from injury. That was his first game. And I can see him maybe having that same stat line, but just getting in the end zone. He's on one of the best offenses right now in the NFL. So I kind of want a little part of that offense here. So give me Addison and Wicks.
Yes, I can see that. I am going to go Flowers and Wicks, but I totally get why you feel that way. This is kind of like Garrett Wilson. This is kind of the last straw for Flowers before he gets put into that boom bust conversation. He might already be there. All right, Daniel. Yeah. I appreciate the super chat, man. He says, "Hey, gents, start 2. Amari Cooper, Waddle, Dontavion Wicks, or Leggett. Love Leggett as a pickup. Not as excited to play him this week versus the Bears. Amari Cooper is one of my favorite plays this week. He's a top 12 name for me at the wide receiver spot. And then I would start Dontavion Wicks over Waddle."
I agree. So give me Amari Cooper and Dontavion Wicks. Can't start Waddle with Tyler Huntley and Leggett. It does have a tough matchup there. Thank you so much for that super chat. John, George Pickens, Dontavion Wicks, Wanda Robinson, Tyreek Hill. Who do I sit this week given these defensive matchups and injuries? Can only pick 3.
Okay, so sit 1.
I would say this. I'm not sure how you feel about this. I'm sitting George Pickens. Why I'm sitting George Pickens is because if Malik Neighbors is not playing, Wanda Robinson is a default. I mean, he got 14 targets or something like that, for 11 targets last week. He's been the guy that's been in the slot, and if it's not Malik, it's going to be Wandale. So it may not be a crazy high upside, but the floor is going to be safe so far for Wandale. I think the same could be said with George Pickens, but I think technically the matchup is tougher going against Travion Diggs. That's kind of where I lean, but I can understand why you probably wouldn't start Wandale Robinson.
I'd sit Wandale. I mean, I feel like Wandale, and I could be wrong, I'm not so sure he benefits from no Neighbors. I think he benefits greatly from the defense focusing on Malik Neighbors every week, I just don't know that you guys can move the ball without Neighbors. I really don't, especially if Devin Singletary is going to be out. So I think in theory, it sounds like, there might be more targets. How many more times can you target Wandale than you've already targeted him with Neighbors healthy? So yeah, I just think Wandale's the option that makes me the least excited there. And
that makes sense.
If anyone was anti George Pickens before the year, I know the fantasy games haven't been great yet. He had a great game last week, to be fair. But I mean, even Matt Harmon, who wasn't high on him, is like coming around and being like, you know what? This guy is like a complete player now. So if you were out on George Pickens, you heard me talk about him and you're like, this guy's an idiot, I think it's time to change your tune, because Pickens he's legit, man.
For me, it was never the talent of George Pickens. It was the situation. And I think what I didn't love, not specifically from you, is just from people who were saying that he was going to be like a top 20, top 24 wide receiver. I just don't see that. I don't see that.
He's a wide receiver 35 right now, and he just had his first game. His first game is what I meant to say. I mean, if you compare him and DJ Moore, it feels like DJ Moore just gets loved because of his name.
Sure.
Why is there not the same,
Because the situation is worse technically for George Pickens.
Is it?
Don't you think?
I DJ just scored a touchdown and he had 11 points.
Sure, I'm talking about the quarterback, and like the overall offense. Like, yeah, Caleb Williams has been looking terrible, but I think at the end of the day, I would still want DJ Moore long term because I believe in Caleb to kind of pick that up.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying I don't feel like every player is, there's different goalposts for different players is what it feels like.
100%. And I thought the goalposts to start the season coming in for a lot of people was George Pickens was just way too high for me. And now I was somebody that was going back and forth. I was like, oh shit, I like George Pickens and I don't like George Pickens. And I was finding new stuff out and not liking it. And resulted in me not loving.
He's the truth.
George Pickens. I think he's a great talent. 100%.
Next super chat is from Angel. Appreciate you. Remember, guys, we said about 10 minutes ago we'd be live until 45 minutes past the hour. There are some streams when people are just constantly donating, and that's just the way it goes. If people are going to donate, we're going to answer their questions. Appreciate you, Angel. He says, which of these four would you package to trade for Mixon or other running backs? Higgins, Jason, McConkey, and Wicks. Other running backs are Kyron, Moss, Allen, Rashawn. I think this is a perfect example where you can package Zach Moss and a name. I'd package Zach Moss and Wicks as much as I love him. I think that'd be my first option.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that's where I would start. Zach Moss and Wicks. And if that's not interesting to him, how about Zach Moss? I mean, would you do McConkey or JSN just to guarantee Mixon?
Just to guarantee 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So I think that's the route we would take there.
I would say like I would not want to move away from Higgins and JSN if this is your wide receiver room. Like if this is your wide receiver one is Higgins and wide receiver two is JSN. It's like I want to keep those guys as much as possible. So try and package McConkey, Wicks, and Moss, or maybe even some of these other running backs just to get the deal done. But try and use those guys like as the last resort possible.
Yeah. All right, another super chat here from Paramount. This is probably the last question of the day. This is 45 minutes past the hour now. We'll tell you how you can access us at any time in a second here. But Paramount says, got Daniels. The running backs are JT, Moss, Hunt, Mason, Robinson Jr. He's got Debo, Deontay, Neighbors, Rice, J-Mo, Leggett, Kelsey, Brooks on the IR. Best lineup and who to drop for Mixon. Okay, right. This would be, I would drop probably Leggett right now.
Yeah. Moss, Hunt, Mason, Robinson, Debo, Deontay, Neighbors.
I'd drop Leggett to pick up Mixon there. And then it sounds like your league is so shallow if Mixon's on the like small benches, small league, a lot of waiver options.
This doesn't feel like an 8-man league though, like an 8-man team. It feels more like a 10-man league.
I just don't understand why Mixon would be on the waiver wire in any league though. That's why it's so small.
I agree.
I'll drop Leggett for Mixon though.
I would say I personally might even drop Kareem Hunt if you wanted to keep Leggett. Like if you were saying, hey, I want to keep Leggett because you're a Panthers fan or you like what he did last week, I would drop Kareem Hunt.
I think if Hunt you didn't want that legit chance to be the workhorse for the Chiefs, so I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and that's fair. But I agree. Leggett is the guy that I would drop. Let's be Leggett or Kareem Hunt. I'm giving you two options here. So
yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is 45 minutes past the hour. Look, we are growing as a channel. It's awesome to see. You guys are so supportive. And unfortunately, we can't. That just means like we can't get to everyone's questions anymore. It's very kind of you guys for donating. You guys are awesome. We can't thank you enough for the growth we've seen, for the support, for the love we get on every channel. But unfortunately, we can't stream forever. I mean, I'm about to go create content for you guys that will release tomorrow morning that we have to get to the editor. We can only afford to editor because of you guys watching our content, donating, being a part of the website. So here's what I will say. If you do want to ask a question to us and you definitely want an answer, check out the website. Hey, maybe you've never checked it out before. I'll spam it in the chat. That page right there is going to take you to a website that looks like this. Okay, where you can get a team review, a trade question, a start-sit question. In fact, we should do that team review before we log off. And this is where you can ask us a question at any moment. even if we're not online, you can leave a comment and say, hey, I want to wait for the stream, or I want this answered straight away. If you don't say anything, we'll probably just wait for the stream to start. And then you'll be at the first of the queue in literally every stream. And the great part about this, which differentiates it from Super Chats as well, is that you don't have to stay on the stream and wait for us to answer your question. Our website will automatically tag you. It'll send you a message and it will say, hey, the guys answered your question. Here's a time code of exactly where they answered it on the stream. It's an incredible website. If you haven't signed up yet, you can use the promo code LAND to sign up. And that's going to give you free access to a lot of premium tools on the site, like rankings, the My Team's team analyzer, the trade calculator as well. There are so many free cool tools over there that you can use just by signing up for a free account with the promo code LAND. But we definitely should, Badaki, do this team review here to finish the stream.
Let's do that.
This is from Bibble. Again, if you guys want your team reviewed, it's the same link there. A team review, start, sit, question, if you want to get a membership, whatever. But let's have a look at this team. It's an 8-team league. It's start 7. It's PPR. There's no tight end premium. And he says, it's my first season doing a fantasy team, so a bit at a loss, and I started the season 2-2. Lost Pacheco. Ingram hasn't helped much. I'm wondering how my team looks, and also what trades might make sense in this league for an upgrade. Lineup is a start 8 is what he's put in there, and they get kicker and defense. So first off, his team name is Take Mahomes Country Road, and right now in our analyzer, you are 7th out of 8 teams. But there's not like this huge discrepancy in the power rankings. Everyone is like relatively close to each other outside of Misa Saku. Like everyone is like relatively close. It's It sounds like because your team name it has Mahomes in it, you drafted Mahomes. We were pretty heavy on not drafting Mahomes early this offseason, but of course you probably found us just recently. So let's have a look at his team. We'll grade it and we'll give him some ideas.
Yeah, let's have a look. This is a 1 quarterback, once again, start 7. So the fact that you have 3 quarterbacks, I would say that's probably one of the biggest things that we would just say right now. There's no reason to roster 3 quarterbacks in a league that only has 8 teams, because surely those quarterbacks should be available on waiver wires. But looking at your league, actually, a lot of people like to roster 3 quarterbacks.
They've got deep rosters here because there's 16 players.
That might not be ideal.
There's 16 players total, and you can only start 7. So if you do the math real quick, he has 9 bench spots, which is kind of insane.
Anyways, that's what we would say. But I think in the way this league is, maybe it makes sense why you have 3 quarterbacks. So we'll kind of get into that a little bit more. The running back position: Bijan, Tony, Swift, Pacheco, Chuba. Decent running back room, not the strongest. Wide receiver: Chris Godwin, Debo, Olave, London, Tank Dell. So that's a good one. Obviously, we like Chris Godwin. Debo Samuel should have a great bounce back. Chris Olave's picking it up. Drake London's also being a little bit more consistent. Tank Dell's obviously dealing with injuries. And you have Evan Ingram, Tucker Kraft, maybe you just picked up off of waiver wires, and TJ Hawkinson. So there's definitely some ways that you can improve this team.
First things first, I would say this is probably a C+ type of team. C+ is what I would say. If I'm gonna grade an A to F, kind of like the school grades, I'd say around a C+ is what I'd give you for how small your league is. Funnily enough, I mean, we had a lot of strategy videos this offseason, and this is probably not how I would have built a team.
It looks like you probably got Bijan in the first round, and then
which is fine.
In the second, maybe
but
Debo or Chris Olave, maybe, or maybe he got Patrick Mahomes. Anyways,
so having Mahomes, it's just a name brand at this point. So like the first thing I would say is if you can sell Mahomes, I would do it. Honestly, I don't even need anything back if I'm selling Mahomes. Like I will start Justin Fields and Anthony Richardson, or I'll figure out the waiver wire. But if I can package Patrick Mahomes with a, I think we improve running back. So like a Swift, if we can package him with a Chuba, with a Pollard, I think we do that to try and upgrade running back. Is there any team here? I probably might not be the case, but is there any team here that needs quarterback This guy has Jordan Love. He's probably fine. Kyler Murray, Tua. Maybe that guy's interested. Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold.
I think maybe that guy that has Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy might be interested. I don't know.
Yeah. If you
Pass it
can
on, pass it
send
to the
him,
left. But he doesn't have running backs. That's the hard part.
if you can send him Patrick Mahomes and Tony Pollard, and even throw in like Tucker Kraft, because tight ends are hard to find right now, and try and get Saquon, great. But it's probably not going to happen. He probably knows how valuable Saquon is in your format.
I think for me, like, it would just be like, yeah, I would agree. I would agree. One thing I would say, like, I know it's probably going to be really difficult, but like, I'm willing to trade like Patrick Mahomes for like a Devonta Smith who's going to come back, and Amari Cooper who's doing all right, a Deontay Johnson, a Brandon Ayuk who's probably struggling. Like, I think if you're going to go this way, maybe you can do a 1-for-1, because that Patrick Mahomes name value, like Zach kind of said, is still there. And I think if someone sees Patrick Mahomes in the first time league, I think you're saying you played fantasy for the first time, but maybe there's other players in your league that also first time, and they see Patrick Mahomes, it's like, oh, dude, I want that. Like, let's go there. Like, let's take that advantage of those players.
Yeah, I agree. Like, let's just say it from here on out. I think every idea you and I are going to give this guy is to do a 2-for-1 deal. All right. So what does that mean? You trade 2 players, you receive 1 back. And the idea is to get the best player in the deal every single time. Why? Why do we say that? I mean, because ultimately depth does not matter at all in your league. Why? Because you play in an 8-team league. That's really as small as it gets. And you have a start 7 lineup. That's, again, as small as it gets. So, in theory, depth really means nothing. Like, for example, a Chuba Hubbard in your league probably means absolutely nothing. But in a league where it's a 14 people who play in it, he's probably very valuable. The same can be said with Tank Dell, right? So we want to do trades where we're packaging DeAndre Swift and Tank Dell, and we're upgrading at running back or wide receiver. We want to package Tony Pollard and DeAndre Swift, and we want to go out there and get a star. Tony Pollard and Chuba Hubbard. We want to go out in there and get a star. At tight end, I think you're chilling. To be honest, in the next 3 weeks, you could have a lot of trade value at tight end. Like, if Evan Ingram starts playing and looks good, if TJ Hawkinson comes back, if Tucker Kraft can continue his form, you might have an opportunity to really trade those guys.
I think you can do it now. I think you can do that now. Like, specifically Tucker Kraft. Like, if I'm just seeing it now. Sorry, Tush Push Kush, Team 5, Mark Andrews co-commit. That guy's struggling.
Yeah,
then Tucker Kraft. Can you go out and get? I mean,
AJ Brown is injured.
So can you go out and get a Travis Etienne who's struggling right now? Maybe Rashad. And I would say Travis Etienne or Rashad White. I know you need another running back, but maybe you get one of those depths. Dave Montgomery, I think, is gonna be really hard to get. T. Higgins. Can you get a T. Higgins who hasn't performed too well so far right now?
I don't think we're aiming high enough personally. If I'm gonna do a trade like that, I want AJ Brown. I want David Montgomery. Those are the 2 names, and the way we're gonna try and do it is by using. Honestly, dude, I'll use any of these tight ends. Okay, any of the tight ends that work, and we will package Tony, like a DeAndre Swift and one of those names for David Montgomery. Perfect. If it's wide receiver, then can we package, I don't know, like a Drake London and Tucker Kraft for AJ Brown?
Yeah.
So that's the direction I would go personally.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. Like, I'm happy to go that direction as well. But those are some options. Oh, excuse me. Those are some options that you can take and move forward here, to try and better your team as the season goes on.
Yeah. Just trying to see if there's another name here. I mean, that tight end room for Tush Push really is the one to target. I think everyone else is okay. Yeah. The other idea is, again, like, how can we do 2-for-1? So, for example, can we package Drake London and DeAndre Swift? Can we find a running back needy team? So let's say Drake London and DeAndre Swift. Can we go get a Marvin Harrison? Can we go get a Jamar Chase? Right? And these are the type of deals you just want to do across the board for the rest of the year. I don't care about your depth. Your entire goal is 2-for-1s. And your waiver wire is probably stacked full of incredible options. So even when you do the 2-for-1, you can go to the waiver wire and pick up valuable names anyway, right? So across the board, if I'm you, Bibble, every trade I'm doing is a 2-for-1. At every moment, I'm trying to get the best player.
Yeah.
Agreed?
I like that. Yeah, agreed.
We appreciate you, man. Thanks for the donation.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps. And yeah, thank you so much.
And don't be discouraged, by the way. I hope this isn't discouraging, the review. It's meant to be helpful. You know, use Mahomes in a trade. Do as many 2-for-1s as you can. And last thing we'll say, which we have to say, is names that you should not trade no matter what. Bijan Robinson, Chris Godwin, Deebo Samuel. I think that's it.
Everyone else is kind of tradable.
Yeah. Outside of that, everyone's movable.
Yeah, completely agreed. Thank you so much for that, man. We really appreciate you. We did get a couple of super chats, and we'll probably end it with these couple of super chats from D Rose and Elias here. Thank you so much for your first time super chat, D Rose. He says start Keenan Allen versus the Panthers or Jerry Jeudy versus the Commanders.
I'll go Jeudy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jerry Jeudy as well. Playing against one of the worst defenses, gives us the most points to the wide receiver position, so you got to go Jeudy there. Thank you so much. And Elliot says, should I trade Martin Harrison and Pollard for Neighbors and Ramondre? I have ET and Connor Brooks at running back, so I don't really need Pollard. Also a Giants fan, so love Neighbors. I love that. Should I trade Martin Harrison and Pollard for Neighbors and Ramondre?
It's an even deal to me.
I think it's great. Yeah, I would do that.
I don't have a strong opinion on either side. I think it's pretty even. If you're a Giants fan, just get Neighbors.
Hey, welcome home, huh? Shout out to the New York Football Giants. Talk it up. But yes, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and when I say that, just to clarify, I'm not like dismissing the question. I'm just saying it is so even. So just choose the side that you prefer. You know, there's not like an imbalance of power here or value. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, I would say arguably just to even throw a little bit more stuff your way here, Elias, is that you could potentially get more because how bad Ramondre Stevenson has been and how big a game Tony Pollard or a decent game Tony Pollard has had.
Yeah. If you can get names like Etienne or Connor or Jacobs or B-Rob.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think you could potentially get more, or if you could do like a 3 for 2, like, hey, like Ramondre has been bad. Like, who else can he throw in?
Yeah.
Can he throw in one of these lower names that no one's really liking, just to see what happens? But yes, hopefully that helps. We appreciate you.
All right, guys, that is it for today. Please be aware that you can reach us at any time. You can get a team review. You can ask a start-sit question. I mean, if you're watching this later, there'll be a pinned comment. And if you want the very next stream, your question to be very first, check out our website. You can ask a question there. And if you will be guaranteed to be the first people we look at on the next stream. We appreciate you for watching. Starts of the week come out tomorrow. Players that are going to go off this week, that's the video. And then we'll have busts the next day. But we'll see you guys on tomorrow's stream. All love. We appreciate you.
Love.